the cost per 10 or 15-second video view on YouTube Shorts, we tracked it at under a half a cent.
Wow.
So you are getting a 15-second commercial to entertain somebody and inform them and get in the back of their subconscious for less than half a cent. YouTube is still it's a platform that people go to watch. They go there to watch, to learn, to be entertained, but they're not trained to click. Basically taking a user from, they have no idea that you exist, to now I know that you exist and I need to know if you can solve my problem, to I think I want your brand in my life, to I can't live without your brand in my life, right? And that's really the story arc that we're trying to get people to. Google has so much information about the behaviors that we take as consumers and users of Google Chrome, of the browsers, of YouTube, of search, everything, right? So they know what are you interested in? They know what are you shopping for? They know what are you searching for? There's so much information, which gives you so much opportunity to combine who people are fundamentally, as well as what are they really interested in? And what's the content that they're looking at? And what competitor websites have they looked at that unlocks so much potential for us as marketers and brands to target those users across an infinite array of content.
Tell us what consumers really care about.
What consumers really care about? Themselves. Yeah. Themselves. They don't care about your brand. They don't care about your logo. They don't care about your colors. They don't care. What they care about is themselves. They care about their problem and they care about fixing their problem.
Hey, hi Justin. Welcome to the Consumers Don't Care podcast. I am really happy to welcome you. I've been following you for a while and looking at all your posts. So you are one of those all-round marketers who, like I personally don't love a specialist. Some people who just talk about ads or just about emails, but I like people who generally talk about businesses and like growing the overall business. And you are one of them. So I'm really happy to welcome you. So yeah, let's start, Justin. I want you to introduce you to our audience. Just tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. It's Justin Buckley. I am co-founder of Attention Agency. Live in San Diego with my wife, daughter, and golden retriever. And I've been in marketing for around pretty close to 10 to 12 years now on the digital side, always on the digital, never any like the legacy. We have had experience across a lot of different facets. So from building our own brands and e-services to affiliate marketing and now the agency side, but always really on the performance marketing side. So never really branding specifically. We've always had the kind of taken the approach of growth and performance. How do you build a brand where people know that it exists? And then how can you scale it within the KPIs for profitability and affordability? I think that our experience across so many different pieces of the business is really where I think you touched on it at the beginning, like the more holistic approach, not just looking at this is what the channel tells me is good or bad, but how do these things that we're doing actually impact the bottom line of a business? So yeah, it's a little bit about my background.
That's great, Justin. So yeah, let's straight away dive into what I want to ask you mainly for this entire podcast is like there are many platforms which people use, especially in e-commerce. We use a lot of TikTok. Yeah, we use TikTok, Meta, Google Ads a lot, but not many of people have YouTube on their list of advertising platforms. I'm not sure why is it, but yeah, we have tried it a little bit with some of our clients who are into e-commerce, but we haven't had great results so far. So and I wouldn't blame it to YouTube, but I would blame it to like more how we approached it, because we felt it is similar to how Meta does work or Google works, but I think it is something different. I want you to share everything that you know about YouTube ads,
All
why
of
it
it?
is important. Yeah, just like yeah, go all in, all of it. I'm not worried about any time, like if it is going to be a long podcast, I'm not worried about it. I just want you to share all of it. Tell us about YouTube ads, just give, more importantly, give us a perspective rather than tutorial. I want this video to be more as a perspective defining thing for
Yeah.
people who don't take YouTube seriously for e-commerce.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. You're 100% correct. I would say that the one thing that I would disagree that you said was that it's not that it's wasn't a YouTube thing, right? That it was the user problem. I think that Google has pigeonholed itself since its inception, right? When we think about user behavior, Google is that middle to lower part of the funnel, right? Where they are going after people who are specifically searching for a product, for a service, for a brand. They weren't even with non-brand search, right, or non-brand shopping. These pieces, the channels or the placements within Google there was still high intent because somebody knew what they were looking for. They just needed to find the solution. Um, so the way that Google trained its customers, its advertisers, was to expect a 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20x on search, right? So the higher intent, the higher intent the audiences, the better your results are going to be. But at the same time, the incremental improvement in your revenue is less. So what I mean by that is when you are running a brand campaign, there's absolutely a purpose and intent for it, right? A brand search campaign is going to protect your brand, make sure that, if you're not ranking strongly organically, or if you have a lot of competitors that are bidding for your name, you're going to set at the top, right? But that's not really incremental revenue. That revenue probably would have happened, at least a big portion of that revenue would have happened either way, right? So the problem that I think Google positioned itself in is that users expect a very high return on every dollar that they input. It's 20 plus years of Google training its customers this way. So with YouTube, we have to think about it as it's more of a social platform first and foremost. But it's also, I think, either maybe the third. It's like Google, Amazon, and YouTube, or Google, YouTube, and Amazon. It's the second or third largest search engine in the world. But the caveat there is that people go there to learn something. They learn there to be educated, or they're going there for entertainment, right? They're bored and they're going to be entertained. That's the social side of the platform. And then there's the informational, I'm looking to solve a problem, or I'm looking for information about something that I need resolved in my life. So YouTube is still it's a platform that people go to watch. They go there to watch, to learn, to be entertained, but they're not trained to click, right? And that's a differentiator, a big differentiator that I don't think on the brand side that people have really understood how to use the platform or how to read the data to understand the impact that it's having on the full funnel. So on our side, what we really tried to focus on is understanding the way that the data is communicating success or failure based off goals that we have, based off where people are in the funnel and the way that they use the platform. So knowing that the audience is going to watch and not click, they'll watch and then they'll search. If the content is good enough and it resonates, they'll go back to the brand, or they'll look for the brand through Google, but also leveraging it at the true top of the funnel, right? How can we build our YouTube campaigns to attract audiences at the most affordable cost possible? And that's really what performance marketing is all about, right? Our job is to do the heavy lifting. It's to get new audiences to your website at the cheapest cost possible, and with the highest probability of success hitting core KPIs, whether that's whatever the intent is of the brand, whether it's drive leads, to drive conversions, to drive signups, whatever the campaign goal is, whatever the brand goal is. That's ultimately our job, right? Once we get those users to the website, it's now the website's job to convert those users, but our job is to get people there. So some of the things that we have to think about when we think about YouTube is knowing that it's not a click-based platform. It's more similar to TikTok in that people go there again to be entertained, not to click on things. Facebook is a click farm. Instagram is a click farm. We've all been trained since it was launched to click on everything, to go off the platform. YouTube wasn't that way, right? You're watching a video and then you go to the next video and then you go to the next video and then you go to but you're never leaving the platform. That's not the intent. So the first thing that we want to evaluate at the true top of the funnel is how effective are our ads at building recognition for a brand. And you look at that from views, view rate, and view played through rate. So the content that we're looking at, or the content that we're evaluating, if a view is 15 seconds, that's an advertisement, right? A TV ad, effectively. So you have 15 seconds that somebody is sitting there, and our anticipation is that they're watching the ad or listening to it. So they're hearing your brand, they're hearing a brand name. If they're watching, they're entertained. That's where the recall will happen, and that's where they'll search. So a few things that we want to look at is, as we're scaling YouTube, what is the impact on sessions? Because we're not looking at clicks truly or isolated looking at clicks. We're looking at the impact that scaling YouTube is having on driving traffic to the website. So is there an increase in sessions? That backs out to, is there a decrease in our cost per session, right? So if we think about driving website clicks, and we're thinking that, Google is going to drive a $2 or $3 cost per click, or $1.50 cost per click, and Meta is going to be $1.50 to $2 cost per click. You have organic, you have direct. Ultimately, you have your cost per session based off your marketing, email, SMS, everything. All your costs divided by, or your sessions divided by your cost gives you your cost per session. If we're scaling YouTube, what we want to evaluate is what the impact is on getting people from watching our ad to getting to the website. And that's really at the top of the funnel. We build a full funnel based off, we call it what's the AIDA model. So it's a marketing thesis. It's attention, interest, desire, action. Basically taking a user from, they have no idea that you exist, to now I know that you exist and I need to know if you can solve my problem, to I think I want your brand in my life, to I can't live without your brand in my life, right? And that's really the story arc that we're trying to get people to take. And at each part of the funnel, we have different intent and different metrics that we're looking at. So at the top of the funnel, again, we're evaluating how efficient are we getting people to watch our ads. Then we're building a campaign to get people who watched our ads to click on our ads. Then we're getting people who have clicked on our ads to purchase. Then we're getting people who have purchased to repurchase, right? So we're going from attention, interest, desire, action, and then we're expanding below that to loyalty, to retention and loyalty, basically turning our first-time customers into multi-converted customers.
Justin, before we just move ahead with the conversation, I want to stop you and try to clarify a little bit, because as a direct response copywriter, I've been doing copywriting for quite some time, and then I transitioned into performance marketing. So every time it was all of this was direct response. So
Yep.
it was you spend 5 minutes in creating a piece of copy, or you spend half an hour in creating a piece of advertisement. It should aim to bring a conversion. Isn't it YouTube ads as a whole, as a concept, that it is not being a click-based platform? You just want people to watch your ad, and then you kind of wait for them to just go on website and purchase, because we are not priming them to go click and go to the website. So isn't that something completely opposite of what a brand needs in terms of conversions?
Yeah. So there's a separate thing that we can do on the performance side to track the way that YouTube is actually impacting a customer's decision to purchase. So in the columns section in the YouTube ads or in the Google ads interface, you can create custom conversions. When you're in your custom conversion, I'll walk you through exactly how to set this up. We create a calculation that we're taking conversions and we're selecting the exact conversion that we want to track. So one of the issues with view through conversions in Google is that it tracks every conversion. View through conversions and all conversions tracks every micro conversion and the purchase conversion. Now for direct response, direct to consumer brands, they don't care about all of the add to carts, right? It's a mechanism for understanding how people are going from page to page and how efficiently our website is getting people to purchase and how efficient our ads are at getting the right people to the website. But you don't want to evaluate 100. You're looking at purchases, right? So what we want to do is build the calculation that calculates how many click purchases have I driven plus view based conversion. So when you select in the custom calculation, you're selecting view through conversions, and on the right hand column within the interface to build the custom conversion, you select the purchase event that you're looking for. So what we're trying to calculate, or what we're trying to understand, is the people who saw our ads that Google can track, and then after they watched the ad, if they didn't click on the ad, they went and searched for the brand and they either landed on an organic ad or a paid ad. So what we're doing is we're actually tracking the efficiency. We're not just saying, let's wait for a conversion. And there's the session side. Yes, we can track the increase in sessions, but the direct attribution still lives there. But we want to evaluate that on the view conversion, the view-based purchase conversion plus the click-based conversion. And then you can modify the calculations based off cost. So you can create your view plus click purchase conversion CPA goal, or your ROAS goal based off of view plus click purchase conversions only. You can modify, like you can create the exact same conversion events, but built specifically for YouTube, where we're evaluating the impact that it's having based not on the way that we want people to use the platform, but the way that they do use the platform, right? They are the ones who define how they're using the platform. And as marketers, we have to find a way to interpret the data to understand the success or failure, right? So hopefully that explains a different way as a direct response marketer that you can evaluate a little bit deeper into how your ads are actively bringing people in to drive purchases, even if they don't click.
Hmm. I definitely understood, but with that, I can also see why you're so much fascinated with YouTube. Like you
Yeah.
have, you dug deep inside the conversion events and trying to find a way to just make YouTube work. Why is that fascination? You have a lot of platforms to work with. Many platforms do the job pretty well. Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads as well. So why your fascination with YouTube? Like what did you see in YouTube, and why do you just want every brand to just give it a shot once?
Yeah. I think it's limitless potential, right? So I want to say the stat, it might sound crazy, but I believe there's something around 10,000 years of linear content on YouTube. So if you watched every single cat video and like funny video, every video that's on YouTube, it would take 10,000 years to digest all of the content. It's again the second or third largest search engine platform in the world. There is so much inventory and so much opportunity that to avoid it because it's complicated seems very naive, right? It's as marketers, our job is to understand a platform and figure out how can we unlock
Yeah.
this, right? There's so much potential. Just how do we leverage it to our advantage, right?
And one more
Um,
thing, I find it very interesting, Justin. Just like it came to my mind that when we try to like browse Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, we are trying to kill time. But with
yeah,
YouTube, we are not doing that. We intentionally go on YouTube, search for stuff, and keep watching videos for as long as some people might be watching this video right now. They will keep
yeah.
watching these videos for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, or even 1 hour. That is intentional attention given inside one platform compared to other social media apps.
100%. Well, I'd compare it a lot to TikTok, right? Where TikTok is a content platform and people go there to be entertained almost mindlessly, right? And I think in India it's banned, but you probably have similar platforms that have popped up since TikTok got banned. But I when I watch people on TikTok, they'll sit there for 90 minutes scrolling 30-second like pieces of content. How many pieces of content did you just scroll through to be what just to be entertained, right? It's wild. But the same thing lives within YouTube, the same use case it's where people are looking for specific content. So as an example, I have a 6-month-old baby. My wife is on TikTok all the time and she's on Mom Talk, right? And she's just scrolling through TikTok, trying to find out what products should she know about, what kind of information is out there. And like some of it is whatever, it's garbage, and some of it is educational, and like there's a full range, right? Other times she just wants to be entertained. YouTube is the exact same thing. Sometimes, as digital marketers, as an example, there are going to be digital marketers or brand that follow this podcast because they want to know what other people are unlocking that they should know about, right? So they're following you and they're watching your content. They're following other marketers. They're following other like storytellers, whatever. But they also probably just want to be entertained. They want to go and they want to listen to music. They want to watch TV, like YouTube TV. Like you can watch TV on YouTube now. So it presents this unique opportunity. YouTube presents a unique opportunity where you're combining like short form and long form content. You're combining educational and entertainment based content, and but you will have all of these other things that you can tie in when it comes down to targeting, whether it's audience targeting, what are people interested in. Google has so much information about the behaviors that we take as consumers and users of Google Chrome, of the browsers, of YouTube, of search, everything, right? They know how many websites have we visited that have dog products. They know in a day, in a 24-hour period. They know how many websites have you visited over the past 30 days that are tied to travel, right? So they know what are you interested in. They know what are you shopping for. They know what are you searching for. There's so much information, which gives you so much opportunity to combine who people are fundamentally, as well as what are they really interested in. And what's the content that they're looking at? And what competitor websites have they looked at that unlocks so much potential for us as marketers and brands to target those users across an infinite array of content and try to find the paths to success within the content and the stories that we're telling, right? So YouTube, a huge caveat for brands is that it is a creative based platform. It is more like social than anything else. Your story has to be strong. It has to be direct response. You have to communicate who your brand is, what you stand for, why somebody should care, what problems are you solving, and not just the features and benefits, but like tie it all the way back to first principles of marketing, right? Where like if you're buying toothpaste, right, your feature is that you have like you need fresh breath or clean teeth. But is that really why you're doing it? No, you're doing it because you need to make a good first impression on a first date, right? You're going in for an interview and you don't want coffee breath. It's these underlying things that motivate us to purchase a product that we want to communicate through the stories that we're telling on YouTube in an entertaining way, right? Remember that like nobody likes a commercial. Like when you're watching a TV show, like you do not want the commercial break. That's when you go to the kitchen. That's when you go like handle the work, like change out the laundry, whatever you have to do because you don't really care, right? So the content that you're putting in front of people needs to entertain them as much as the content that they originally went there for, and then build out all of those other things to like draw them into the brand, like all the attribution ways that we can actually track.
Do you think, Justin, this is one of the reason why not many brands are able to pull it off on YouTube? Because it is really intensive, like creating a good creative, that will get you the results on YouTube is not a joke, and it is not as easy as designing a banner and posting it on Facebook, or just getting a UGC done by one of a customer and just posting it on Instagram. But like there goes a lot of work, and it has to be really polished, and you'll have to focus on different aspects of copywriting as well, and persuasion, talking about your product, talking about the customer. So just the difficulty of creating a good creative, is that stopping many brands from exploiting YouTube?
I think that it is a barrier for sure, because to make good content, we have an amazing creative partner down here in San Diego, Raindrop. We also do creative in our agency, but big budget, like the big stuff, the production studio style, we don't do that. But we do know that that stuff can cost 20, 50, 100, $200,000 for a video that, if you're not confident in YouTube as a channel because you haven't figured out how to unlock it, it makes it very hard to invest that much money into your content and your creative, right? There's very few brands that can gamble on that much money, right? So knowing that there is the barrier there, I think psychologically pulls brands back. But then also there's a little bit of the chicken or the egg, where they're saying that it didn't work because they're using content that doesn't resonate, right? And then if they did have content that resonated and they were looking at the right metrics, then maybe they would become believers, and they would actually see how much scale is in YouTube, not just on the high intent, but on the low intent, bringing people into your brand rather than just waiting for them to be ready because Facebook, Instagram, or some other channel got them ready, right? Nurtured them along the path. And that's a big thing with YouTube, is I think for brands to evaluate the efficiency, you want to compare. This goes back to the thing I was saying about YouTube or Google. You have to compare the intent of the channel at getting people to eventually take the action that you want them to take. So Facebook and Instagram, as an example, they do an amazing job of educating people. It's basically like the concession stand at the grocery store, right? Nobody goes to Facebook to see athleisure, like workout clothes. Nobody goes there to see that. But Facebook has so much information about the user behavior and how everything is integrated that it can take a customer on a journey from, you saw this ad, to now I'm showing you the dynamic remarketing ads, to then I know that you visited these websites, so I'm going to retarget you with more ads because I know that you're in the market based off your user behavior. And now I'm going to get you. Well, caveat, after iOS 14, Facebook's lost a lot of that information, right? So they no longer know that Aman has visited 5 car websites in the past 5 hours. So then they could start showing you new ads from competitors because they know that you're in the market. They can't see that much information anymore. But Google can, because it's all in the same interface, right? It's the Google Display Network, it's YouTube, it's search, it's shopping, all of the actions that you're taking, plus Google Analytics. And even though they're isolated platforms, you know that all that information is being shared across the platforms because you can link it. So knowing what users are doing, knowing the actions that they're taking within Google, we can push them through that funnel and just know that the content that we're showing them is relevant. That's really like my take on the content piece.
Mm-hmm.
The other side that I think is really worth stressing with the barrier to entry is that TikTok has, I think, again, at least in the States and some international, it has transformed the way that users are digesting content. So UGC, user-generated content, it's been around forever. That is testimonials, that is that's customer reviews,
Unboxing videos.
Unboxing videos. It's like outfit of the day pictures on Instagram. That's user-generated content, right?
Yeah.
TikTok transformed that into storytelling. So it wasn't just pictures. It wasn't just like, hey, look at what I'm wearing today. It became storytelling, and somebody really passionately explaining like this is why I love this product, and
Yeah.
it didn't feel like it felt entertaining,
Yeah,
right? It
it
didn't
like
feel like
customers like it got more immersive, we can say, if that's the
100%
right word. Yeah.
more immersive. But then when TikTok exploded, Meta and Google both created their own iterations of those placements. Meta launched Reels, and YouTube launched Shorts. Those three platforms are now competing very aggressively for the 9 by 16 viewer, the vertical video viewer, right? And two things are happening. One is that they are pumping out organic reach because they need the creators to feel like that's the place that they can grow the most efficiently. If the creators are building there, people will follow because people want to be entertained. And then if the people are there, then the advertisers will be there, right? So with YouTube Shorts, again, because nobody trusts YouTube or is like understands how to work with YouTube, the cost per 10 or 15-second video view on on YouTube Shorts, we tracked it at under a half a cent.
Wow.
So you are getting a 15-second commercial to entertain somebody and inform them and get in the back of their subconscious for less than half a cent. That's where we have to compare the efficiency in building your brand and making sure that people know you exist. That's the brand growth side. Is there a place that you can do that more efficiently? And the only place that we found is actually TikTok, which is 0.45 cents. So it's like 0.05 cents more efficient than YouTube and YouTube Shorts. Now, that's the cost side. The content side is that, hey, there's a ton of apps out there, a ton of services, agencies. We do it as well to create the content really efficiently at scale to load up on YouTube as ads and as organic that doesn't have that massive barrier to entry, the 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 video cost per video. You're now talking about $100 per video, $200 per video, $500 per video, maximum maybe $1,000 per video based off of the creator. If you're hiring an actor, like a professionally trained actor, to create that, like maybe a more direct response story, but the barrier to entry is significantly lower, and you can build a brief around the direct response communication and style, right? That answers all of the pain points, whether it's price, social proof, testimonial, features, benefits, advantages, problem, solution, whatever you want, however you want to angle your content. You can now have this built from the other person that you're contracting, selfie style. I'm now recording myself. I'm going to send this to you. Your team can cut it up into 50 different things, loaded up on YouTube Shorts. You can also just repurpose the content that you have on Meta Reels or TikTok. So there's an explosion of content that you can send out across YouTube and lower that barrier to entry and the risk, right? That like perceived risk of like, it's not just the ads that it's not the ad budget that I have to worry about. It's like writing a search ad costs you 5 minutes of your time. Putting up a YouTube ad costs 3 months, 6 months of development plus the cost of producing the video. So lowering that barrier to entry is massive in unlocking the ability to test YouTube.
And coming to the algorithm side of these platforms, so do you think post iOS, for example, if I am a brand, I have a product, I have a T-shirt like a store. So if I'm trying to retarget a customer who has visited my website, so how do you think are these platforms? Let's just take example of Meta, YouTube, or Meta, Google, and TikTok. So if I want to retarget that person, the answer is definitely this or not this or that. I don't expect you to answer that, but which of these platform is more smarter, as in it has more accurate data and it can target a customer who has visited your website more accurately. So On which platform could I trust more if I want to run a retargeting ad?
Very interesting question. I think that the goal, it's really important for us to acknowledge that the goal of each of these platforms is to report the best data possible, right? Because if I can report to you that you got a 5x on Google versus a 2x on Facebook, where are you going to spend? Right. And this is a conversation that we have all the time. And this goes back to that incremental revenue. Like, yes, it got a 5x, but where did we have to understand where that user came from? How did they understand that your brand existed? It's a user journey story that we have to understand. But when we think about these platforms, knowing that they are going to report on data that incentivizes you as the brand owner to spend more money in their platform, trust but verify, right? Use other tools like Triple Whale, Rockerbox, Segment, or Northbeam to understand your data outside of just what the platform is telling you, because the platform is going to muddy the waters to make themselves look really good. There's also the issue of cross attribution, where you
Yeah.
have to understand somebody started at Facebook, right? And then they maybe they visited a couple pages and then they searched for the product. They landed on the page. They got to the add to cart, but they abandoned the cart because they were driving and they almost got in a car accident. They threw down their phone, and then the abandoned cart email hits them while they're watching TV, and they say, "Right, I was going to buy that product. I really do want that." Well, now you have three platforms that are all reporting to say, "I did it. I'm the one. Spend more money with me because I got you that conversion," right? So the platform data is we just want to be cautiously optimistic about what the platforms are reporting. Now, on our side, we look at platform data as how to optimize, right? It's not a source of truth. It's just how can you optimize that platform to perform better. If YouTube is at a 1x, that's our benchmark KPI. What do we need to do now to get that to a 1.5?
Yeah.
If Meta is reporting a 2x, that's great. That's our benchmark KPI. What do we have to do to both scale our ad budget, but also increase our ROAS to 2.2 or whatever our incremental improvement goals are going to be? So, sort like the data, I think if I were being critical to directly answer your question, I think that Meta is doing some really interesting things with shops where they are trying to encourage people to stay within Meta so that they own all of the data. So, whether it's on Meta ad experiences or the buy through Meta, where they're going to own that information and they have more information about how people are engaging within the platform. Now the synapses between the actions that people are taking and how my actions connect with your actions, it then allows Facebook to understand more about user behavior, where the ads get more efficient again. I think that iOS 14 broke a lot of what they had, and everybody knows this, and nobody it was really hard to unlock why it happened, but effectively, they couldn't see what was happening as efficiently before when, if you were visiting 5 different brands for athleisure wear, all of a sudden you started seeing gym shorts in your feed, right? And Facebook is just showing you the things that you're engaging with and interacting with. They don't have that anymore. They've lost a big piece of the customer journey, both what they're doing, basically what they're doing off-site. Google, I think, so for everything that Facebook lost, I think that it's improving. I think that with Shop's experience is improving, but Google, I don't think got hit as hard as Meta did because they own so much data. Within Google Analytics, Google Ads, the Google Display Network, all the different platforms that people go to, they have so much user behavior to tie in audiences within their definition of in-market versus affinity, all the different ways that they'll define who people are. Couple that with with their ability to track through enhanced conversions, exactly the same thing as Facebook, the conversions API, but to grab the user information and apply that to somebody who's logged into their Chrome browser, right? So now, even if I'm blocked from tracking the cookie, I can grab all of your information and tie that to your Chrome login. I think Google just has way more information than any other service out than any of these other platforms. So I think that their reporting is like, I think it's better. I think it's more accurate, or it's just they have more information. I could be biased, but I think that would be my opinion.
I agree. I kind of agree with you because to the level or to the extent Google is involved in our lives, it's much higher. Because like in the United States, of course, iPhones and iOS is has the majority of the share. But in if you see worldwide, Android as a platform, this is one like the most popular, even more popular than iOS, I can say, and that is by Google. So
Yep.
without no, and we use Google Maps all day long, and so the extent to which Google has access to our lives is much more than any of these social media platforms can ever have.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and you like Google Maps, such a good point. So like, if I search for best restaurants in San Diego, and then I open up my maps to go wherever I'm going to go, Google knows that I searched for food, and they're going to display ads in maps for restaurants, right? So like, the capacity for marketers to reach people with very specific intent is phenomenal. And then the fact that they have this channel that allows us to reach the widest audiences, millions and millions and millions of people, based still off of the intent that they have expressed across their usage of the internet, targeting them by in market, even if they've never visited our website before. We know that they're looking for electronics. We know they're looking for home and garden products. We can hit those users when they're in these platforms, across YouTube, across display, across discovery, even without them looking for our product. So it's a huge platform. It's enormous potential. It's really just about building your strategy around the goals that you're trying to get and how the customer psychology works to push them through the funnel as fast as possible.
Hmm. So, Justin, I would also like you to advise us if, for example, if I have a store and I have a budget of, let's say, $30,000 per month. So, let's take it $1,000 per day. So, if that's the case, let's consider I'm a normal consumer CPG brand. I sell some product worth 100 to $150. So, what could be the
Mm-hmm.
right marketing mix for me? Usually, what we assume is we start with Facebook, then we'll for like higher ROAS, we'll go look towards Google and try some bit with the TikTok. But where does YouTube fit in this marketing mix?
Yeah. I think for us, we would start. I need more information, right? So the first question I have is ROAS your goal? Because if ROAS is your goal, then you are looking for performance, right? Because that's a metric that not only do I have to understand my cost per acquisition, but I have to also understand AOV. There's some things I can do on the advertising side, targeting if we want to increase AOV, we're targeting high income earners because they have more discretionary income to spend on miscellaneous products. So I can get the right people with the right budget to the website. But if your website doesn't, if it adds any kind of friction to adding more product to the checkout, or if you're not presenting an offer that increases the average order value, then it makes it very difficult to optimize for ROAS, right? Because you have two different equations that are happening. The website has to get people to add more to their cart, and you have to communicate on site all the different products that you have and get people to see the products that they might like, so that they can increase the cart value. Because an ad can only do so much, right? Even a YouTube ad where you have 3 minutes of me telling a brand story or a product story, there's only so much that I can communicate to you to get you to go to the website and start exploring. So if it's a ROAS goal, then you're looking for performance, and I need to optimize for efficiency. I have to cut ad spend. I have to figure out what audiences are going to get the highest rate of return on every dollar spent. If we're looking for a CPA goal, you are looking for growth. So when we think about CPA, you're maximizing conversion volume, right? Conversion volume versus conversion value. So if I can maximize the number of people that are getting to your website without concern for AOV, but you're just saying, I want a $20 CPA because I know that over the course of 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, my LTV, my customer lifetime value, is going to triple, quadruple, whatever. This is a great model for subscription companies as an example, or like people, like brands that where people come back because there's a low price point. But if I know that I can win that customer back 3 or 4 times and get that customer lifetime value to go from $20 to $80, and I'm willing to have either slight first order profitability or break even, because I know on average over time I'm going to recoup and I'm going to hit 50% return on marketing costs, on acquisition cost. So the ecosystem, I think, like the marketing mix, all ties into those goals. If you have a really high ROAS goal or MER goal, so marketing efficiency ratio, where we're looking at total marketing cost over total store revenue, I want to evaluate where can I be most efficient at tracking the goals I need to track, right? So like direct click attribution. We're talking about like, I want to make sure that I've got clicks going from every dollar spent going to my website so that I know that it's 1-to-1. And it's like, we're evaluating our clicks. So in that case, maybe the marketing mix is put more growth budget towards Meta and then put more retargeting effort to YouTube, right? Because YouTube can push people further down the funnel while Meta is more efficient at getting people to visit. Or said it different, more of your growth and performance will be like 60%, 70% of your budget might live within Meta, and then 30%, 40% might live within Google across more mid to low intent placements, shopping and search, with retargeting on YouTube. And then, but if you're more aggressive with your MER, because you have an incredible referral network, so you have affiliates that are running, you have referral traffic, you have organic and direct traffic, all these other marketing channels, you're not tied 1-to-1 to your marketing ad spend or marketing output. You have more ability to spend on growth channels to bring more people into the top of the funnel that then you can nurture through the customer journey. So I think it honestly, like how much you spend on YouTube and how you spend on YouTube, just like any other platform, is all dependent on the big picture, what your big picture goals are and how much risk you can take on non 1-to-1 direct click purchase attribution, right? Because
I want to tie this conversation with one interesting thing that you mentioned in your post. You were talking about revenue per session,
yes,
increasing revenue per session. I think this is a statistic that not many people talk about, and this is really interesting. So I want to tie this conversation with revenue, increasing the revenue per session, and how YouTube can impact. So let's just like tie it around this metric, so it's more interesting to understand.
yeah. So revenue per session is just how much revenue you're driving for every person that visits your website. Your cost per session, it's inverse. when you combine those things, you're still looking at MER, you're still looking at total ROAS, total multi-channel ROAS, right? You're just, what's my cost, what's my revenue. But the important thing that we want to evaluate is, how do we, on the performance side, get spend less money on per on the aggregate amount of traffic that's coming to our website, and what do we need to do to convert more of those users at a higher value? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when we think about increasing revenue per session, we're thinking about, we're getting all of these sessions to the website. This is CRO. It's how are we optimizing our website for conversion rate and conversion value, getting more people to purchase more frequently at a higher value. Those two things explode your revenue per session. But the cost per session is going to be controlled by how many sources are we getting to get people to our website, and how do we lower that cost, right? And that impacts a lot of different other, with contribution margin and other things. But how are we getting more people to our website with less cost per person that we have to get there? And that's from tertiary platforms, TikTok, YouTube, getting people at the cheapest cost possible to visit the website, but also organic and direct and partnerships and influencers and referrals and whatever, right? All the different channels that we can do. We just want to constantly evaluate, what are the things that we're doing outside of our website with our marketing that are getting people to our website? Is that cost going up? Is that cost coming down on average? And then on the revenue side, what are we doing with our website to reduce friction to purchase? So what does our offers look like? And also, how are we getting people to purchase more, right? More velocity and value. That's what we're looking for to increase our revenue per session.
Hmm. That's really insightful, and I don't think so. This is commonly talked about, because many people, many marketers judge the performance based on clicks only, and that might be one of the reason why they don't look towards the YouTube, because it is not a greatly trackable platform when it comes to clicks.
I like, so you said something really, really powerful right there, right? Marketers are evaluating the things that we're doing. If you're an email marketer, you're evaluating your open rates, your click rates, your purchase rates from your platform. If you're in Google, if you're operating Google or Facebook or TikTok, you have to look at those metrics, because that's the thing that you are driving performance within that channel. But as a brand, we have to look at all of these things combined to understand, where do we need to spend more money to have a deeper impact on our greater operations, right? So yeah, I just think it's really important that we're evaluating, that we're looking at what we're accountable to and holding our feet to the fire, like being self-critical. Audit yourself constantly. Make sure that you are performing based off of what your job is, and don't just sit there and say, oh, well, MER is down because I run Google, but it's email's fault. Email didn't hit, like they made $100,000 last month. They made $50,000 this month. That's why MER is down. Well, okay, that great. Congratulations. Clapped for you. You just identified what the problem is. But inside your channel, what can you do to solve that problem?
Yeah.
What can we do to help drive that revenue back? Do we have to modify? What are you suggesting? How are we solving the problem? Not calling out that the problem exists. We know it does. But in our channel that we're accountable to, what can we do to help grow the brand or help the brand perform? Right? That's what we have to do. And we still have to look at all of the different metrics at our disposal to make sure that we are hitting those goals for our clients.
Yeah. The other day I was talking to George. He is he's a great email marketer, working in the e-commerce space, and he was also talking about the same stuff. Like we have to work together. The
Yeah,
media buying team, and like the even the organic blogs team. If you have a e-commerce website where you like post some blogs, so everyone has to come together and work, so that it's not like emails will bring $100,000 in revenue every single month. That's not possible.
absolutely.
And similarly,
Yeah,
Google also can't give you 5 ROAS like on ad spend every single month. That's not possible. So we have
especially
to work
especially
together.
not with the growth, right?
Yeah.
So somebody the customer has to know that your brand exists before they
Mhm.
make a decision to purchase. Like you can look at like time lag for conversions, and like very seldom, unless it's like a fidget spinner, are people saying, yeah, I saw this and I'm going to buy it right now. The first time I saw this, I'm going to buy it. Like it's very rare that that happens. So you like understanding how long it actually takes a customer to make a decision to look. They saw your product, they saw your brand, then they price checked you, they looked at competitors, you exposed them to more of your content or your ads, and then they decided to purchase because they think that you're the brand that's going to solve all of their problems. That takes a long time. I think I remember Gartner put out a study a long time ago that was like it's 23 engagements. I was speaking with a brand a few weeks ago, and they were saying that they're looking at a frequency of 13. Right? You're talking about people have to see you a lot to move your brand from their subconscious, where they know you've seen your brand before, but they don't know where. So how many times have they seen your brand before they're like, I recognize you. How
Yeah.
do I recognize you? This is interesting. Now I'm paying attention to now you're in the forefront of my consciousness to now I have to decide whether I actually want to spend my money to give my money for your value. Right. And like that takes a long time, and it takes a lot of nurturing from all of the different platforms and placements. Where are they discovering your brand? Is that on YouTube? Is it on TikTok? Is it on Meta? And then where are they making the decision? You're not going to get a 5x ROAS on Google, which is going to be brand search, right? Congrats. You got people to search for the brand and then they spent the money. Like that doesn't count.
Hmm. That's amazing. I think talk a lot about, and this word has been wandering on web for a long time, creator economy. And
Yeah.
like this is a perfect example of like what creator economy actually means. So like
Totally.
we have seen with most of our clients as well that we don't need a lot like huge influencers as such, even because it's more about relatability than influencing people. So people tend to weirdly relate more with influencers who have less subscribers, because they feel
Yeah.
more natural, they can feel more connected with them. So this is also one like lesser used hack of using people with less followers in and
Yeah.
whitelisting ads from their accounts.
Yeah. I mean, look, this kind of goes back to the YouTube analogy, right? Do you want to spend when you're testing something, do you want to spend $100,000 on one video, or do you want to spend $100,000 on 1,000 videos? What would you rather test? And like, how do you build the content? Like when you have one video, look, you got one video, you got one shot at making that happen. When you have 1,000 people that you've paid $100 to, or 100 people that you've paid $100 to, or $1,000 to, what are you, $100? You have the ability to test way more communication to see what will work, and it's kind of irrelevant if that person has followers, because like they can post, but ultimately the brand wants to understand what communication is going to work, right? What hook works, what value proposition works, what features and benefits works, like what's the framework of the content that drove people to engage, and then create as many variations of that video with as many different types of people with different looks and feels and speech patterns and whatever, to make everybody feel like they can identify with this brand, right? I think a big thing within the creator economy, like I think that there is some pushback in the creator economy right now coming from the brand side, because they're not seeing it work as efficiently as it was like maybe 6 months ago. I think part of that is the natural progression, like the Gartner hype cycle that takes you from like, oh my God, this is amazing, to, oh, this isn't really that great, to like, okay, this is reality, right? I think we are going back towards reality from like the depths of despair is what it's called, like where everybody's kind of pessimistic about it. But I think the reason for that is like, if you're on LinkedIn or you're on Twitter and you look at these gurus that are talking about like, all you need to do is have a hook and then you do this and then you do this. Well, yeah, true. But like you're missing a huge part of UGC, which is like authenticity,
Yeah.
right? Which is like, you have to make this relatable. You have to make your content feel authentic and like that it's not an ad. If I think that it's an ad, I'm going to swipe. But if I think it's a story that I'm interested in, I'm going to watch. So like I saw this thing the other day that it was a tooth straightening company. And the hook was the 3 red flags of crooked teeth. That makes no sense, right? Like that sentence makes no sense. It's like, there's no red flags. Like having crooked teeth is a red flag, like whatever, like, but there's no red flags of that. So, but it also like, of it's taking people away from what actually is their problem, right? So going back to that like toothpaste thing, like a better ad, a more authentic feeling ad from a creator standpoint might be like, these are the 3 red flags of a first date, right? And it's like, this person has like X, they're like, they show up in a taxi, or like they're not a driver. They show up drunk. They're texting their ex-girlfriend. And then the last red flag is they have bad breath. Okay, now you can take me down a product story arc that like this product solves that problem. Like, don't be the one that gets caught with bad breath on a first date. Use this product, this one, and you've already hooked them in because it's entertaining, it's relatable, it's a problem that everybody has. Every bachelorette out there who's like trying to make a good first impression. Like, these are real life problems, right? So
Mm.
talk to those problems, create the content that resonates with people, and then push your product in as the solution to that first principal problem, right? The thing that we all actually care about. It's not fresh breath. We don't care about fresh breath. If we're just sitting in our house, like by ourselves, like whatever, yeah. But if you're sitting there talking to somebody, like, oh, I don't want to, I'm going to be embarrassed. Like, you know what I mean? So we want to make sure that we're telling the story, but make it relatable. Don't just lean into UGC because it's a trend. Make UGC that speaks to your product, speaks to your brand, and speaks to the real life problems that people are having.
Yeah, and use AI. Like we've
Yeah.
been doing, like we've been using ChatGPT extensively to script our UGCs, and like it's amazing. It's very easy, and like you can create so many iterations, like do testing. So basically, you don't have to try too hard to create stuff that actually can convert. So even as you
I,
talked about that,
I want to say try hard.
yeah,
Like, I think it's the opposite. It's the, like, people get lazy with the brief process. They see a hook, they see something like it organically, and they're like, okay, let's just try that. Let's try the red flags of teeth whitening. And is it what? There's no red flags of teeth whitening. Like, there are things that are red flags for other things. Like, but you want to make sure that when you're briefing out the content, that you're putting thought process behind, how would I understand what's the problem, what's my solution, and how can I communicate this using templates that exist, right? So like, or hooks that are gaining
yeah,
traction. Like, you really want, in your creative strategy, you really want to make sure that you're putting energy behind the initial briefing thought process
yeah.
before it gets to the creator. Because if the creator doesn't understand what they're doing, then the ad is not going to land. It's not going to stick. And then again, you're just wasting money on assets that aren't going to resonate.
Cool. I think it was like we have learned a lot about YouTube ads in this conversation, Justin. I want like now to give you an opportunity to talk to our viewers, tell them about your agency, and if they need your help, which I would definitely recommend. So just tell them how can they reach out to you.
Yeah. So our agency is attentionagency.com. That's ATTN agency.com. Depending on when you are listening to this, we're in the middle of redeveloping our website, so don't judge us too hard. Um, but yeah, we offer services for paid media acquisition. So that's your Google, Bing, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We've done it. Connected TV, programmatic, email, SMS, direct mail, and creative strategy. So everything from your display statics to GIFs and animations to video content. Some things that we don't do web development, we don't do CRO, we don't do organic social management or organic search. But we do have partners. So if you're looking for recommendations, I can also point you in a direction there. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just look up my name, Justin Buckley. My LinkedIn handle is linkedin.com/Justin Buckley. You can find me on Twitter. I think my handle is at Justin Mitchell Buckley, or Justin M Buckley is my name. Justin M as in Mary Buckley, and Buckley. Or you can reach out to me by email, justin@attentionagency.com, ATTNagency.com.
That's amazing. Thanks a lot, Justin. Before we wrap off, I would like to ask you one last question, which is the most important one. So, you have worked with a lot of brands till date. You have grown many brands like Talentless from some 15,000 a month to 300,000 a month of spends. And you must have already encountered a lot of customer responses. You might have also like had some conversation with customers. Tell us
Mm-hmm.
what consumers really care about.
What consumers really care about?
Yeah.
Themselves. They don't care about your brand. They don't care about your logo. They don't care about your colors. They don't care. All the things that like, first, like, unless you're Nike, you're not Nike, right? So like, think about what the customer, what their problem is. What is the thing that your brand solves for them, right? They don't care what you think about yourself. They don't care how novel you think your product or brand is. They don't. They just, what they care about is themselves. They care about their problem, and they care about fixing their problem, right? They care about looking amazing in a hooded sweatshirt. They care about like feeling like they're going to make that amazing first impression on a date. They care about landing their next job opportunity. They don't care about your brand core values, right? That's a nice to know, but not a need to know, right? So like, always lean into the things that your customers care about for themselves.
Oh, that's very well summed up. Nice to know versus need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot, Justin. I'm like really stoked to release this whenever possible, as soon as possible. I want my viewers to listen to you and also learn from you a lot. You share a lot of great content on LinkedIn. You shared a lot of great tips about YouTube, and in general, the perspective that I want to help brand founders and marketers with is what you have helped me to do in this episode. So thanks a lot for coming along.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you inviting me. It's been a lot of fun.
Cool. So that's it, guys, for this episode. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If yes, hit subscribe and make sure to like this. And like, see you in the next episode. If you want to watch any of our previous interviews, then I'll leave some links around so you can go and watch the next interviews. So yeah, that's it. That's me, Aman, signing off. See you in the next episode.